Okay, everybody, I guess it's time to call this meeting to order. I call this meeting of the Devine Independent School District Board of Trustees to order at 6:30 p.m. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551. Let the record show that trustees Carl Brown, Henry Moreno, Carrie James, Chris Davis, Renee Freya, and Allie Buchenhausen, and Nancy Pepper are present. Would you stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you bow with me in prayer, please? Father, we thank you for this beautiful weather that you've given us recently, and we thank you for the coming of spring and the beauty that we see around us. We thank you also for this wonderful district that we have the privilege of overseeing, and we pray that you'll bless it and keep it safe, and keep our kids and our staff and teachers and all safe in these days of much trouble and trauma in the world. We pray that you'll bless us as we look at the business of the district, that the decisions that we make and the things that we do will be in accordance with your will and what's best for our children. For a great name. Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, the first thing we have on the agenda is recognition and presentation for dollars and cents.
Thank you all for coming. Mr. Bendele, thank you for coming, sir. Devine Dollars for Scholars was founded in 2009 by Devine High School graduate Harold Conrad. Mr. Conrad graduated in 1954 from Devine High School, along with other original board members Bob Bendele, John Ward, Susan Broccoli, and Bill Bain established the foundation for the sole purpose of giving scholarship monies to DHS graduates to help them pursue a post-secondary education. Over $30,000 in scholarships have been given each year to DHS seniors since 2013. The foundation continues to grow, and every year DISD contributes to that foundation through the Go Get It emphasis in January. Members of the board are Mr. Bob Bendele, President, Bill Bain, Vice President, Michelle Spivey, Secretary and Treasurer, Deanne Schofield, Brenda Gardner, Richard Ramirez, and Harold Conrad, who acts as a financial advisor. Our 2023 donation for Dollars for Scholars was $2,994.52. Ms. Gardner, if you're on the board, do you want to be in this or no?
Mr. Beadle. She didn't want to be on me. She don't like to sit.
Smile at that. She doesn't have this one for the right time. Yes, sir.
Madam President, I'd like just a few seconds to talk a little more about Devine Dollars for Scholars. I have on here on behalf of the board, I was going to name them, we've done that. Now a little more about Devine Dollars for Scholars. We started in 2009, as he said. The first year we gave $1,500. Pretty soon we were up to $20,000 a year. He mentioned $30,000. This year we're going to go $42,000. We're going to give out. That check, we're not going to spend a penny of it. We've never spent a penny of any of the money that we've taken in. It's all been from donations, and then they're invested, and the money that investment earns, we spend. So if someone gives a gift, it is truly a gift that continues to give. All donations, we've never had a fundraiser. These little communities have too many fundraisers, so we said from the beginning, no more fundraisers. And they're from a community that's very proud of their schools, and rightfully so. So thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bendele.
Thank you all. Okay, now we have citizens communication. And no one signed that. Next, we go into our administrative reports, and first is Todd Grandjean.
Can you hear me? All right. All right, first of all, campus administrators continue to work and train their staff on the Safe and Supportive Schools team. This is extremely important in the initiatives that the state legislature has us going forward. Ms. Beadle is conducting grade level and department meetings at the secondary level in the last few weeks to explore the impact of our curriculum instruction initiatives and our vision. Tomorrow will actually be our secondary education walk. That's where we've started. We take all the principals in the district and central administration. The week before spring break, we went through elementary and intermediate. We pop in and out of teachers' classes so that other campuses get to see what's happening at the different grade levels. Seems to be very helpful. Everybody enjoys it. Teachers like to show what they're doing in their class. We've seen some pretty cool stuff. We also continued our campus safety visits each week. Mr. Wendell and I are trying to monitor the state mandates. He's watching the legislative updates as they come. He'll be giving us an overview this evening as well. Mr. Wendell has submitted for 2 school safety grants to the state of Texas, and we've actually been approved for one of those grants so far. The other one's still in progress. The grant that we were awarded was for $200,000 to be used for safety initiatives at the school. I attended the March 23rd Lions Club meeting along with Dr. Terry James and Allie Bubenhausen, and the next Student of the Month presentation will be on April 20th. If anybody's around or able to come. Continuing education template for the Guardian Plan has been put in place. We have started our new Guardian interviews. We were able to get 6 of those done the week before we went on spring break, and we continue next week, probably the remainder at can't really tell you how many we have left, but we will knock them out in probably 10 days. Devine Education Foundation has its 2nd annual golf tournament. It's April 22nd. Right now there are a list of teams that have signed up and commitments from companies that are donating to the foundation. Right now they said that we stand at about $40,000 of commitments for that event. We're still working collaboratively with Chief Atkinson to apply for a community funding grant through Tony Gonzalez's office. I'm supposed to meet with Chief either Thursday or Friday to go over some other aspects that we have to give up. There's going to come a time when I have to come to the board and say that we enter into agreement that we want to have a partnership with the city, the county, and the fire department to keep this moving. Mr. Gonzalez and Ms. Gardner have filed for the JET grant to the state of Texas. This is Jobs and Education for Texans. It's a huge grant. If we're awarded this opportunity, it would mean $350,000 for our CTE programs. I asked her what the progress was. She goes, we haven't got a denial letter at this point, so she's still confident that we're on the move. We haven't been told no, so that's good news. Throughout the last month and a half or so, I've held informational presentations to all of the district staff and different civic groups, community groups to present our bond proposal. We're going to have two town hall meetings that are scheduled. I'll get those dates to you. We're also going to offer a sign-up sheet if anybody's interested in campus tours. We're going to meet out front of the DSAC, and then I will drive them around in the bus and show them different aspects of what the bond will impact. Campus administrators still do their weekly door sweeps. We have to do this through the Texas School Safety Center. We have gotten, like I've said before, we've had our 2 intruder detection audits, and we expect 2 more because one of the last safety meetings that Mr. Wendell was in through the Region Center, they said that
Texas School Safety Center intends to do 100% of all campuses in the state of Texas by the end of the school year. So we are vigilant in things that we are doing to keep our campuses safe, and we look forward to seeing them, to show them that we're compliant. And
New signs look nice.
that's another, Mr. Van Fossen finally got all of our guardian signs framed and put up around the district. So hopefully that will help people understand that the district's willing to do whatever cost we can to protect our kiddos. And that's all I have.
Next, we have the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Personnel, and Safety, and I believe he also has a legislative report.
As I said before, there's so many of them, so I'm not gonna go through all the details and bore you with ones that probably won't have any run or won't get any committee meetings. The ones I'm going to talk about tonight are actually Senate bills, and these are some of the bigger ones that you need to be aware of. Some of the things right now, popular topics that they've been talking about, of course, is still property relief. They're talking parent rights, teacher rights, and safety. Those are kind of 4 right now that they've been working on. On 322, Senate passed 2 bills. That means they're moving on the committees. And that's Senate Bill 3 and Senate Bill 4. These have to do with the reduction of the property tax for Texans. The Senate Bill 3 is looking at a homestead exemption from $40,000 to $70,000 for homeowners, for disabled adults and homeowners 65 plus. They're looking at about a $10,000 to $30,000 savings. So that's the big pieces of that Senate Bill 3. Senate Bill 4 was going to compress the school district tax rates by an amount appropriated by the Texas legislature, and they're figuring somewhere around 7-cent compression is what they're working on there. The funding received may not be greatly impacted, but they're saying more of the funding would be the responsibility and be shifted over to the state under both these bills. So they're still in discussions. They're going to committee for referral, to the House committees for referral and consideration. So we'll wait and see what they come up next on those. Here's another big one that we're watching. This is Senate Bill 8. It's one of several bills that would create that educational savings account, or ESA vouchers. It creates about an $8,000 per year ESA for those in public schools whose families want to transition to private schools. So if a student's already in a private school, based on this right now, if a student's already in private school, they wouldn't qualify for the $8,000, but if we had students right now that wanted to transition to private schools, I wanted to take my son from public school to private school, then would qualify for $8,000. So that's what they've got written in the language right now. There's also some parental rights written in there, dealing with transfers, participation, instructional reviews of materials for schools, and then well-being of students, their mental health, emotional, and physical health. So lots more information in that parental bill of rights, and I think we'll start hearing more and more specifics in that as the time comes and they start talking about these more in committees. There's also changes to local grievance procedures. Could make y'all's lives a lot more busier than it going to administrators first. It would come to boards and then go to administrators. So that remains to be seen. They've discussed that one. And then also creating a parent portal that would actually have the volumes of instructional materials that would be used by instructors within the classroom, but then parents would have access to be able to see exactly what is being taught in the classroom, what materials are being taught in the classroom. And there was quite a bit of discussion on that one. But those for the bill shared the parental rights to choose students for the best of their children. They talked about which states the vouchers were succeeding in. They were talking about how the improvements of all schools due to more competition and then the need to help private schools to grow. So those that were proponents of it, those were the things that they were using. Supposedly, this discussion went on, this was started last Tuesday and went into the night that they had witness testimony discussing for and against it. Now, in our case, TASA and the Texas Association of Community Schools are some big organizations that we also are a part of here in the district. They didn't get to give any testimony that night, but they did write in, and here's what they said. They said, our organizations have long opposed the use of taxpayer dollars for school vouchers, educational savings grants, and other mechanisms that siphon money from Texas public schools with little or no financial or academic accountability to taxpayers, communities, or the state. We strongly recommend that lawmakers require the same accountability measures for private entities or homeschool parents receiving public funding that are required of public school districts, including state regulations regarding hiring, certification, curriculum, student and data privacy concerns, health and safety issues, instructional materials, and library materials if applicable, among other things. And those testifying against the bill, they explain that the ESA programs spend public dollars with no accountability, and that is a very big one that everybody's talked about. They have poor track records in other states. They support religious schools with state funds, fail to serve students requiring special education who cannot get those services in private schools, and result in an overall decrease in public education funding over time. So,
Darren, let me ask, so
yes, ma'am.
if the voucher's in place and somebody can get $8,000 to send their child to a private school, they still pay their property taxes to the school, but as far as the funding that we would get, we wouldn't get any of that funding.
Well, there's another provision in this, but that one remains to be seen, where it says that like school districts under 20,000 students or so could end up receiving some funding, but that's in one of the other bills that are very much like this one.
But we would still be required to provide the special education services.
Correct, yes. In our case, yes, because our education services are based on federal funds, and so we have that federal mandate to serve our students. So, yes, ma'am.
Did they say anything about if, once they get the $8,000, if they change their mind and want to come back to public school?
No.
What happens to the money that they took?
I think that's one of the other concerns that was brought up during the witness testimony, and unfortunately, the committee could not answer that discussion, or couldn't answer that question, and I think several times it came up. That's one of the big parts, because there's also another piece of that where they said $8,000, but it could be up to $10,000 when they're talking about materials and fees and those sorts of things. So yeah, they don't have the exact amounts worked out, because that's what we would like to see, exactly how they're breaking things down. Because they don't give us $8,000 per student right now as it is. So it's number one.
Yes, equal opportunity, we should get it too.
Yeah. So it'll be a very interesting one to watch. This one is supposed to be going back into a joint committee, and there were some things that they talked about. I think that they're going to try and hash out, because different groups wanted different things out of it. But it'll be interesting to see, because it's got a lot of traction at the ESA. And the other portion that was interesting is they're talking about a third party being in control of that instead of the state or TEA or anything else. And of course, they don't identify who the third party would be, but the third party would be in control of all the funding that would go to, a parent who wants to take their kid to homeschool, or private school. So, all right, Senate Bill 9 is the other one. This is a teacher bill of rights, relates to rights, certifications, and compensation of public educators and the assistance that TEA provides to public schools related to public school educators and certain allotments under the Foundation School Program. So they've been talking a lot more about trying to figure out how to help teachers. A couple of those ways, they want to create a teacher time study, which could end up being a good thing for teachers, or could be bad if they're in the classroom trying to figure things out if you're a part of the study. But what they want to find out is how much time outside of the classroom, outside of conference periods, outside of the school day, are teachers working and trying to put together their lessons. And so that one will be interesting. They also want duty calendars for certain professionals. We've got the duty calendars that we work out for all of our personnel, but for our teaching personnel specifically, this is what it's looking at, is they want a little bit beyond just our academic calendar, because our academic calendar is for our teachers, instructional aides. They're pretty much in tune to that. That's like their duty calendar. They want more specifics, and so they want specifics for them. They want specifics a little bit more for librarians, for nurses, a couple other areas, and they're a little specific in that. And then salary increases for teachers. This was a very interesting discussion last week when I was listening to it. There was a couple of witnesses that were talking on it, and that's the increase of classroom salaries. But the committee met, there's nothing written in there like what that increase is going to look like, percentage, anything like that. They don't put a number on it. They just put it in there as a possible increase for classroom teachers. They don't say above the state minimum. Don't put any of that language in there. So a lot of the witnesses were asking, the committee members, what are you looking at for a classroom teacher increase? What are y'all discussing, since it's, there's no dollar amount written in there. Well, they kept turning it back to the witnesses. Well, what would you like to see? Put them on the spot, but it was a little more interesting. And so this bill is still pending, so it remains to be seen exactly what will come with this one. We know that one legislator, one representative threw a number out there, a $15,000 raise, and so everybody ran with that, but that one's not getting as much traction. It'll probably sooner be when it gets into committee with this one on Senate Bill 9, so that'll be what we're watching. But some of these Senate bills are becoming the bigger ones to watch right now. And then as far as the safety ones, those are still under consideration. As Dr. Grandjean said, with the awarding of the $200,000, and then we did get the other one that was $9,500. So with those, that helps us to implement things that are required, and that's what they're looking at. A lot of the discussion is, even though they say new monies, it's going to be through allotment increases of the safety allotments, and it's just waiting to see exactly how much are they going to, how much money, and they keep saying that rainy day fund, how much of that money are they going to put toward safety and some of these other items like teacher increases or staff increases, anything like that. So we're just waiting to see, but these are ones that do have traction, so we will see them in some way, shape, or form possibly.
So we did get the second grant?
Yes, we did get both of them, yes.
That's great. All right, thank you. Okay, next we have Director of Student Services, Director of Special Programs, Abigail's report. Does anybody have any questions for her on that? Okay, now we have Director of Student Services, Tom Schneider. Any questions? And Director of Special Education, Dykstra. Okay, anybody have any questions for Shannon on her business reports? Then we have all of our principal reports, all the campuses. Anybody have any questions? I see we still are going up on our court cases. Ms. Grandjean. Yeah, it is. Okay, next we go to our director's reports. Anybody have any questions on that? In case some of you haven't noticed, I think you probably have their sign being out in front of the central office. I've been bugging Dr. Grandjean about that. You want to tell them why it's been out for 6 months?
So there's 3 control panels in this sign. 2 of them are out, and Mr. Van Vossen has communicated with the company, and they are both coming from the actual country of China. And so, no, it's been October, I think, when they finally diagnosed it and ordered it.
October. They think we want to get it by May. slow boat from John, as he said. So I just keep thinking, why is the sign not going? But that's the reason. Thank you. Okay, next we turn to our consent agenda, which involves our minutes from our board meetings, the budget amendment, and the TPESS appraisers, and the extension of the depository contract. I think if y'all looked at that, most of those are just normal items. We're adding one person to our appraisers, and depository contract is the same. It's just the extension of it. If no one has questions about any of those items, do you have a motion, please?
Madam President, I move to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion by Carl and a second by Henry to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. That's a 7-0. Next, we have our action items. Consider and take possible action to approve the Devine Education Foundation grant. Ms. Brenda.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening. You're there.
I don't need a microphone most of the time. So in your board package, you should have received 2 document agendas. One of them was for $1,000 to the middle school for the program that they're instituting, a block of time, I think on Fridays.
Yeah.
For kids to pursue some different things, some interests that they may have, learn different skills. And then the other one was from a teacher, but still going to the middle school for quilting supplies. I think it was 2 sewing machines and other quilting supplies. I think that's pretty cool that somebody young, and she's young, quilts and is willing to teach young people how to quilt. So we need your approval. I think it's just in one motion for $1,500 to the middle school.
Okay. That's great. Anybody have any questions for her? Let's have a motion, please.
Madam President, I move to approve the Devine Education Foundation grant as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Carl and a second by Carrie to approve the grants to the Devine Education Foundation. All in favor? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll be back in April for more.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's great. Next, we have on our agenda to take possible action to accept the certification of unopposed candidates and adopt an order declaring the trustee election canceled and the unopposed candidates elected.
So-
Any question on that? Go ahead.
Self-explanatory, right? We don't have anybody running against our current candidates, and so we don't have to have a trustee election. Henry, Mrs. Pepper, and Henry Gordon.
Okay. Can I have a motion on that then, too?
Madam President, I move to accept certification of unopposed candidates and adopt order declaring the trustee election canceled and the unopposed candidates elected.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Chris and a second by Carl or Henry. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. That's pretty much it. Next, consider and take possible action to set the budget workshop dates. We love this time of year.
Yes, it's budget season. Yay. I put 3 dates in your packet. The first date is the May board meeting, and then the Tuesday after Memorial Day, and then Monday, June 5th is the possible third one.
Was May.
May 15th, May 30th, and June 5th.
I'm sorry, say them again.
May 15th, that's the regular May board meeting.
Okay.
Tuesday, May 30th, because Monday is Memorial Day, and then Monday, June 5th.
And a lot of times we don't need that last one. We get it done. Does anybody have any problems with any of this? Okay. Anybody else have problems with the one after Memorial Day? y'all okay with us then? I understand that we might not have a full quorum here, but it's pretty hard to have on budget workshops. We can have a motion then on those days. If you're ready, but
Madam President, we set budget workshop dates on May the 15th, May the 30th, June the 5th. That's presented.
Second.
all right, I have a motion by Henry, second by Carl to set the dates as presented. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Maybe we just have to do it all in the first time.
Can we get calendar invites?
Yes, sir. We can. You and Jerry will send them. Right.
These usually start at 6, is that okay?
If we can send them out, we will.
We usually start 30 minutes early. At 6. Is that okay?
6 o'clock, is that okay for everybody?
One on the 15th.
For the one before the board meeting, for sure. Okay. All right, next we have to consider and take possible action to renew our FS&C contract with Taylor.
This is the cafeteria contract that we began last year that we RFP'd out. Even though it's for 5 years, we still have to do the renewal through TDA and get board approval each year. So this will just be our second of 4 renewals for the 5-year contract.
Any questions on that? Okay, we need a motion then, please.
Madam President, move to renew the FSS contract with Taylor and that's presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Henry and a second by Carl to renew the contract for Taylor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Next, we have to consider and take possible action to approve amendment number 1 for this year's contract with our food service.
And as approvals and renewals are done in the spring, what TDA has noticed is because of the economy, prices of food and supply chain and all other things in this world right now have gone up. And so it's the first time that I've seen it. There's a CPI, Consumer Price Index, that is multiplied in our invoice for the meal equivalents, and they are allowing that number to be increased for the cost of food and other increasing costs. And so that is an amendment to the current year contract.
Is it just increased for the balance of the year, or do you have to go back? You know?
They were adjusting retro, which was, and we got all the way from to August, back to August. Yeah.
Do we have to make money on the contract? That's not the right way to say it, because we use that money for cafeteria, but we have had over and above what was spent in previous years, but we won't, we'll be breaking this year. That's what she's anticipating anyway. Okay, do you understand the amendment then? Because the cost is the first for us to understand that. I will need a motion then, if you want to approve it.
Madam President, I move to approve the amendment number 1 to the 22-23 contract between Taylor and Devine ISD.
Okay, motion by Carl and a second by Henry to approve the amendment to the contract between Taylor and the rest school district. All in favor, raise your right hand. Set up. Okay, we finish our regular business. We'll go into closed session. Good job, guys. I call the Board of Trustees begin at 7:04 p.m. Will convene in closed session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act for the purpose of discussion items listed under Texas Government Code Section 551.07, 551.074, and 551.076. No final actions, decisions, or votes will be taken while the board is in executive session. Y'all had a short night tonight. Thank y'all for coming.
Did you say 7:04?
7:04, yes.